Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today's class will the topic for today's class will be on anti-hypertensive agent. Okay, so from the word anti का मतलब है like something which is against, है ना? Anti, you can say antibiotics, है ना? Anti-allergics, which are against the function of allergies, which are against the function of infection. Okay, so antihypertensive agents, they are the medicines which are doing just the opposite of high blood pressure. Okay, so hypertensive का मतलब है when our blood pressure is very high, more than the normal value. Okay, so antihypertensive agents are nothing but medicines which we give to patients who are having high blood pressure, high BP. Okay, so let us see with the definition. First of all, you have to understand what is hypertension. Okay, so there is a normal value, how much we have to there's a normal range also, how much our blood pressure should be within that normal range. And if our blood pressure is more than the normal range, or it is more than the normal value, then we call it as hypertension. So in blood pressure, there are two things you have to remember. One is the systolic blood pressure, okay, which is the upper portion, and number two is the diastolic blood pressure, that is the lower volume, the lower value. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is a normal blood pressure of a normal adult?
Ma'am, 120 by 80 mmHg.
Yes. So 120 by 80 mmHg. So 120 is the systolic blood pressure. Okay, or short form we can call it as SBP. And 80 is the diastolic blood pressure. Okay, which we call it as DSBP. Okay, so let us see the definition of hypertension. It is defined as either a sustained systolic blood pressure of greater than 140 mmHg, or a sustained diastolic blood pressure of greater than 90 mmHg. Okay, so if our systolic blood pressure is more than 140 mmHg, okay, so we can diagnose the patient as hypertension. Or if the diastolic blood pressure, the lower portion, if it is greater than 90 mmHg, then we can also consider it as hypertension. Okay, so you can see the range here. Okay, 120 to 140 we consider is at mild hypertension. Okay, mild cases. And if it is more than 140, then we consider as hypertension. Okay, and the diastolic also normal is 80, right? So 80 to 90 is the range. Okay, if a patient is having 85 or 86, then we can still consider it as mild hypertension, but not severe. We can manage. Okay, we can manage the mild hypertension by uh, doing exercise, by relieving stress, okay, by limiting the fatty foods, the oily foods, okay, by telling the patient to have to perform some diversional therapy. You can perform yoga. Okay, so by that, what happens is our blood pressure can also decrease, okay, and come back to normal value, that is 120 by 80. Okay, so hypertension, remember hypertension, when do we say that the patient is hypertension or patient is having high blood pressure? When their blood pressure is more than 140 mmHg, more than 140 by 90 mmHg. Okay, so such patients we consider as hypertensive patients. Okay, and we have to treat, we have to treat the high blood pressure. We just can't leave the patient like that. We have to give some management, so we have to give some medicines to the patient so that their blood pressure decreases. Okay, and we call those medicine as antihypertensive agents. Okay, so it is written here also, an agent that reduces high blood pressure. ठीक है, अगर हमारी हाई ब्लड प्रेशर को रिड्यूस करना है तो हमें मेडिसिन देना है पेशेंट के लिए, विच वी कॉल इट एज एंटी हाइपरटेंसिव मेडिसिन. Is this clear with the definition of hypertension and antihypertensive medicines? किसी को doubt है? Anybody has any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So in antihypertensive, okay, so in antihypertensive medicine there is सिर्फ एक मेडिसिन नहीं होता है. There are so many classification. With so many categories of antihypertensive medicine. Okay, so there are 9 classification. Okay, these you can see the red the sentences which are written in red color. These are the classification. Okay, and the ones which are in black color, these are the medicines name under this classification. Okay, so there are 9 classification of antihypertensive medicine. So you have to remember, because antihypertensive medicines are very important for your exam. Okay, they may come for your final term exam. Okay, and very commonly asked in the exams also. Okay, so you have to remember the classification of antihypertensive medicine. So first classification, it is called as ECE inhibitors. Okay, under ECE inhibitors, we have medicines like captopril, enalapril, lisinopril, okay, perindopril, and ramipril. Okay, so these are the medicines under the ECE inhibitor. So you must, in the wards also, when you're taking care of patients with hypertension, okay, so you must have seen these medicines, okay, in the form of tablet form or maybe in the form of injection. Then second classification is the angiotensin antagonist, okay, like losartan, irbesartan, and candesartan. Then we have the very important, very commonly used medicine, we call it as a calcium channel blockers. Okay, so I have taught you about calcium channel blockers also in the previous classes. Okay, so under this calcium channel blockers, we have medicine like Viramapil, diltiazem, nifedipine, fedodipine, amlodipine, and lacidipine. Okay, so in the wards, I think you must have seen this medicine, amlodipine. Okay, so this is very commonly used also, amlodipine, Viramapil. Okay, then we have diuretics. Diuretics I have taught you in the even in the last previous units also. I have taught you about diuretics. I think the first or second classes. Okay, so I will not repeat when I go into details about the classification of drugs. I will not repeat with diuretics because you have already done. Okay, I have already taught you in detail about diuretics. So let us see what are the medicine in diuretic. Number one is thiazide, chlorothiazide, okay, indapamide. Then we have furosemide, which is a high ceiling diuretic. Then we have potassium sparing diuretic like spironolactone, amiloride. Then we also have mannitol, and mannitol is also a diuretic. Okay, so these are the medicines, because diuretics also, they help to decrease the blood pressure of the patient. Then we also have another classification is beta adrenergic blockers. Okay, like propanolol, metoprolol, atenolol. Then we have both alpha and beta adrenergic blockers like labetalol and carvedilol. Then we also have alpha adrenergic blockers. So here you can see there is a beta adrenergic blockers, there is an alpha and beta adrenergic blockers, and there is an alpha adrenergic blocker. So I have taught you regarding the adrenergic blockers in the previous classes. Okay, when we did about the neurological disorders agents. Okay, so there is an alpha adrenergic blockers. Under this, there are medicines like prazosin, terazosin, and phentolamine. Then another classification is the central sympatholytic. Okay, very commonly medicine we give to the patient, that is methyl dopa or clonidine tablet. Okay, so these are some of the medicines under central sympatholytic. And the last, which commonly given, is the vasodilators. Vasodilators also comes from the word that is, it dilates the vessels. Okay, so the blood vessels. So under vasodilators we have hydralazine and minoxidil sodium. Okay, so these are the medicines, or the classification of drugs of antihypertensive medicines. Okay, and under these classification we have the examples of medicines. Okay, so this PowerPoint is very important because you have to remember the classification of antihypertensive medicine. It is very important. It is because it is commonly asked in the exam. Then we will start in detail, okay, regarding the classification of antihypertensive medicine. So first I will start with the alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, so alpha adrenergic blockers is number 7. Okay, so this example of medicines are prazosin, terazosin, and phentolamine. Okay, so let us see what are alpha adrenergic blockers. So these drugs, what do? They block the alpha 1 adrenergic receptors. Where are they found? In the arteries. Okay, it can be in the carotid arteries, or it can be in the coronary arteries, or it can be in the aorta. Okay, then smooth muscles and central nervous system tissues. Okay, so I have taught you in the previous unit regarding the adrenergic blockers, adrenergic agents, right? So I've taught you about the alpha and beta adrenergic blockers, okay, because they have a very important function in our central nervous system. Okay, so these alpha adrenergic blockers also are very important with our blood pressure, with our heart. Okay, because what do? They block the alpha 1. Okay, they block the alpha 1 adrenergic receptors, which are found where? In our arteries. Okay, which are found where? In our smooth muscles and also in our central nervous system tissues. Okay, then this is the action of the alpha adrenergic blockers. Then indication, it is mainly used to treat BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. So benign prostatic hyperplasia is basically the enlargement of the prostate gland. ठीक है, जब हमारे जब especially it is found mainly in males. Okay, if the prostate gland, the size of the prostate gland is increased, okay, the cells are dividing very fast, and the size of the prostate gland also increases, then we called it as benign prostatic hyperplasia. So in such cases, when patient is suffering from BPH, then we can give alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, then if patient is having hypertension, means high blood pressure, when the blood pressure is when the systolic and diastolic is more than 140/90, then we can give these medicine. And also if patient is having or suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Has anybody heard about post-traumatic stress disorder? Have you heard of this word ever in your life? कभी सुना है post-traumatic stress disorder? Or any idea what it is?
मैम इसमें ये हो सकता है कि अगर किसी को कोई इंजरी हुई है तो उसके बाद अगर कोई सर्जरी वगैरह हो रही है तो उससे उसे स्ट्रेस हो रहा है.
Yeah, any incident happen in their life, है ना? Any incident, maybe a gunshot, है ना? या कोई भी injury, कोई accident हो गया, ठीक है? They may have an accident, or they have committed suicide, falls, but they are still alive. तो वो जो भी incident हुआ है, it is putting stress in their body. It is putting stress in their mind. ठीक है? So that is post-traumatic stress disorder. Post मतलब after. Traumatic means any traumatic injury, any trauma. Okay, it can be gunshot, it can be knife stabbing injury, or it can be any incident. Okay, stress disorder, that is putting stress in their body. So these are the three indications we can give alpha adrenergic blockers. BPH, where the prostate gland is very big and the size of prostate gland cells is very big. Then hypertension and post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, so patient is having stress, their blood pressure increases, so we need to give alpha adrenergic blockers so that उनकी जो blood pressure है वो कम हो जाएगा. Then it is not usually recommended as monotherapy. Means we will not give only alpha adrenergic blockers to the patient who is having hypertension. ठीक है, उसके साथ alpha adrenergic blockers के साथ साथ we can give some supportive therapy or we can give some other medicines also. ठीक है, other classification of antihypertensive medicine. ठीक है, so we can give in combo. ठीक है, मान लो we can give alpha adrenergic blockers with supportive therapy like yoga, or we can give alpha adrenergic blockers with diuretics. Okay, so in combination. Okay, so that will be ditherapy. Okay, so it is not recommended as monotherapy. Mono का मतलब है एक. ठीक है, so we will not only give alpha adrenergic blockers, we will give something else with this. Then they are selectively block the postsynaptic alpha-1 adrenergic receptor. So like I told you that these medicines ये क्या करते हैं, ये postsynaptic alpha adrenergic receptors को block करते हैं, which are found in our arteries, which are found in our smooth muscles and also in the central nervous system. They will block the receptors so that they will not function. Then the commonly used drugs are prazosin, doxazosin, terazosin. Okay, so these are the commonly medicine which are under alpha adrenergic blockers. Then very commonly medicine, that is prazosin. Okay, so prazosin is alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, it blocks the postsynaptic alpha adrenoreceptors of the veins and arterioles. Okay, causing vasodilation and reduction in blood pressure. So this prazosin, ये क्या करते हैं medicine, ये हमारी जो अल्फा एड्रेनर्जिक रिसेप्टर्स है उसको ब्लॉक करते हैं. ठीक है, which are present where in our veins, in our arterioles. ठीक है, so when they block, what do? They cause vasodilation. हमारे जो blood vessels है वो dilate हो जाते हैं. For example, veins. ठीक है, there is so much of pressure. ठीक है, maybe blood is not flowing properly into our veins because of any obstruction. ठीक है, और मे बी द जो हमारी वेन्स है या आर्टरीज है ये नैरो हो जाते हैं बहुत ही. इट इज नॉट इन द ओरिजिनल साइज बट इट इज बिकमिंग वेरी नैरोड. ठीक है, वो जो रास्ता है वो बहुत ही छोटा हो जाता है. सो इफ द रोड इज वेरी स्मॉल, ठीक है, कंजेशन होगा, है ना, ब्लड फ्लो इज नॉट गोइंग प्रॉपरली. ठीक है, सो देयर विल बी प्रेशर इनसाइड, कंजेशन होगा, है ना, whenever there is a traffic jam in the road. Okay, so there will be congestion, and so there will be increased pressure. So in the same way in the veins also, okay, if or in the arteries, if the road or if the size of the artery is very small, narrow हो जाते हैं, ठीक है, रास्ता और स्मॉल हो जाते हैं, तो क्या होगा, हमारे जो ब्लड फ्लो है इट इज नॉट गोइंग प्रॉपरली, कंजेशन होगा. ठीक है, when there is congestion there will be pressure. ठीक है, so that causes blood pressure. Okay, so we give prazosin so that it will block the alpha adrenergic receptors, okay, which are present in our veins and arterioles, and it will cause to dilate. It will cause our blood vessels to dilate. ठीक है, जब हम dilate हो जाते हैं हमारी blood vessels, तो क्या होगा, blood flow easy हो जाएगा, it will flow properly. ठीक है, रास्ता खुल जाएगा and blood will flow properly and it will reduce the blood pressure. So this is the action of prazosin. Then indication. So we know prazosin we give in hypertension, high blood pressure. So first of all, initial मतलब starting, जो starting dose है, ठीक है, the first time we are giving to the patient, the starting dose we give at 1 mg per orally, okay, by mouth in the form of tablet. ठीक है, so you'll give 1 mg first, ठीक है, every 8 to 12 hours, ठीक है, 8 to 12 hours, there should be a gap 8 to 12 hours, then we can give another dose. So first how much we should give? 1 mg, ठीक है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं. 1 mg we will give by mouth per orally, that is in the form of tablet. Then after that we have to after 8 to 12 hours gap we will check the blood pressure of the patient, ठीक है. If patient's blood pressure is still high, it is more than what 40/90, तो we will give a maintenance dose, मतलब maintain करने के लिए. So you will give how much mg? 6 to 15 mg per day divided to 2 or 3 times, ठीक है. So we can give 2 times in a day or 3 times in a day, ठीक है, BD, or we can give TDS. How much dose? It should be within 6 to 15 mg per day, ठीक है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं. Then alternatively 1 to 5 mg per orally BID may increase dose to 20 mg per day in divide dose. So if the patient's blood pressure is still high, ठीक है, it is still high in spite of giving in medicine prazosin, तो हम उसकी जो डोज है प्राजोसिन की जो डोज है वो हम इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं 20 mg पर डे इन डिवाइडेड डोसेस. इन डिवाइडेड डोसेस मतलब जो 20 mg है वो हम डिवाइड कर लेंगे इनटू 3, है ना. वी विल गिव इन 3 टाइम्स इन अ डे, आफ्टर ब्रेकफास्ट, आफ्टर लंच और आफ्टर डिनर, ठीक है. और वी कैन गिव 2 टाइम्स इन अ डे आल्सो, आफ्टर लंच और आफ्टर डिनर, ठीक है. Some patients may benefit from up to 40 mg per day in divide doses. So some patients, okay, सिर्फ 20 mg से उनकी blood pressure कम नहीं होता है, but we can increase up to 40 mg also, ठीक है, per day. Okay, so that 40 mg should be divided into 3 dose, ठीक है, in a day, in 24 hours. Okay, so this is the indication and usage, means the dosage. Okay, and the indication is we give in hypertension. Is this clear to everyone? किसी को doubt है यहाँ तक?
No, ma'am.
So what are the contraindications when we should not give prazosin or when we should not give alpha adrenergic blockers? Number 1, patient is having CHF, congestive heart failure. Okay, when the heart is not able to pump anymore, okay, not able to pump blood which is demanded by the body, then we should not give prazosin. Then hypersensitivity, if patient is having any allergic reaction or is having any sensitivity to the medicine after the initial dose, then we should stop. Then we should also be very cautious when we are giving in pregnant women, okay, in pregnancy. What are the side effects? Number 1, syncope. ठीक है, syncope means feeling of fainting, ठीक है, feeling of less of consciousness. That is, we call it as syncope, fainting, ठीक है. Then patient can have palpitations where their heart is beating very fast, and you can feel that your heart, you can feel that it is palpitating. Then nausea, patient can have nausea, patient can have edema, swelling, okay, any part of the body. Patient can have chest pain, patient can have vomiting, patient can have depression, nervousness, and epistaxis. Epistaxis, can anyone tell me what is epistaxis?
Ma'am, nose bleeding.
Yes. Okay, so patient can have nose bleeding. So these are the side effects of prazosin. Okay, so I have done about alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, so in alpha adrenergic blockers, I have only taught you about the medicine prazosin, because prazosin also is very commonly used. Okay, so I have taught you about the action of prazosin, the dose, how much dose we should give, initial dose कितना देना है, फिर if their blood pressure is not decreasing, then we can give in maintenance dose. Okay, how much dose we should give in one day and how many times we can divide 2 times in a day or 3 times in a day. Okay, and if the patient is not managed by the maintenance dose, then we can increase up to 20 mg per day in divide doses. Okay, and some patients can also benefit up to 40 mg per day, depending upon their health and depending upon how much their blood pressure is. Okay, so the main, you can say, the responsibility of a nurse here is to monitor the blood pressure before giving the medicine. Okay, then after giving the medicine, then we should check the dose, how much dose we should give to the patient. Okay, we should give it by tablet form or we should give by injection form. And you have to be very careful if you're giving in pregnant women and patient having sensitivity or any allergic reaction, then we should stop immediately. And if patient is complaining of any of the side effects, then we have to report to the doctor. Okay, so these are this is about the prazosin or alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, so now coming to the ACE inhibitors. Okay, so ACE inhibitors. A, angiotensin. C is for converting. E is for enzymes. Okay, so ACE inhibitors, remember it is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Okay, so these are the antihypertensive agents that acts in the lungs. Okay, where are they acting? They're acting in the lungs, not in the heart, not in the kidneys. Okay, so they are acting in the lungs to prevent the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, which is a potent vasoconstrictor. Okay, so and I'll tell you first what is angiotensin. Angiotensin 1, it is produced by renin. Okay, renin is an enzyme which is produced by the kidneys. ठीक है, kidneys are producing renin, है ना, it is secreting renin. This renin, इसका function क्या है? It converts, it is producing angiotensin 1. ठीक है, so this angiotensin 1, okay, we have to convert it into angiotensin 2 basically. ठीक है, लेकिन ये जो angiotensin 1 ये क्या करते हैं? It constricts the blood vessels. ठीक है, the action of angiotensin 1 is to constrict the blood vessels. Okay, so we don't want our blood vessels to constrict, because जब हमारी blood vessels constrict हो जाते हैं तो pressure और increased हो जाएगा, है ना. So we need to block the action of angiotensin 1. ठीक है, we need to block the action. So we need ACE inhibitors, that is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Okay, we need to prevent the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. ठीक है, वो जो conversion वाला process है उसको रोकना है. ठीक है, because that conversion, because angiotensin 1, angiotensin 2, they will increase, cause constriction in the blood. ठीक है, so we do not want our blood vessels to constrict, क्योंकि जब constrict हो जाते हैं तो blood pressure increased हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, patient is already having blood pressure. ठीक है, and angiotensin is converting more and more into angiotensin 2. ठीक है, और तो हमारी जो blood pressure है वो और increase हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so the blood pressure of the patient will be extremely very high. So what do? We need to block the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin, and this is, we call it as ACE inhibitor. So the action is by preventing the production of angiotensin 1, which is a potent vasoconstrictor and a stimulator of aldosterone release. So we have to block conversion, the converting process from angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, क्योंकि angiotensin 2 a vasoconstrictor. ठीक है, ये हमारी blood vessels को constrict करते हैं. ठीक है, जब constrict हो जाते हैं तो blood pressure और increase हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, so this is the action of ACE inhibitors. Anybody has any doubt with this? किसी को
No,
डाउट
ma'am.
है? Okay. So when do we give AC inhibitors? We know that we have to block angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, है ना? That conversion उसको block करना है, ठीक है? अगर हम block नहीं करते हैं तो क्या हो जाएगा? The blood vessels will constrict more and more, ठीक है? Constriction हो जाते हैं तो blood pressure increase हो जाते हैं, तो we have to stop the action. So first indication is hypertension. Okay, so we have to give AC inhibitors when patient is having hypertension. So this AC inhibitors we can give alone. Monotherapy दे सकते हैं अभी, ठीक है? We can only give AC inhibitors to the patient, ठीक है? Or we can give in combination with other drugs. So it is monotherapy and it is also ditherapy, ठीक है? ये दोनों है. Okay, AC inhibitors we can give only the medicine of AC inhibitors to the patient, okay? And the other option is we can also give with other medicines. Okay, we can give it with other supportive therapy, okay? So it is combined. If we have to give with other medicines, then we can give with diuretics and digoxin in the treatment of heart failure and left ventricular dysfunction. So if patient is suffering from CHF, congestive heart failure, where the heart is not able to pump properly, जो heart की muscles है, myocardium है, okay, the myocardial muscles है वो it is very weak, so it is not pumping properly, ठीक है? Not enough blood is coming out to meet the demands of the body. So such condition we can give AC inhibitors with diuretics and we can give with digoxin. So this is a combo medicine, okay? And we also give in left ventricular dysfunction when the left ventricles are not left ventricles में कोई obstruction है or there is some damage or there the left ventricle is not able to pump oxygenated blood into the aorta, ठीक है? So in such condition also we can give the combo medicine. And also we can give in patients suffering from diabetic nephropathy, ठीक है? Diabetic nephropathy is one of the complication of diabetes mellitus where their kidneys are damaged, ठीक है? So this is about ACE inhibitors. What are the contraindications when we should not give AC inhibitors? Number one, if there is any allergies, okay, patient is allergic to AC inhibitor, patient is having hypersensitivity reaction, patient is having any renal impairment, okay, where the kidneys, chronic renal failure patients, heart failure patient, hyponatremia where sodium level is very less in the blood, okay, when patient is having low electrolytes in the body, hypovolemia, fluids and electrolytes loss हो जाते हैं from the body, then patient is pregnant and patient is lactating or is on breastfeeding. So we have to be so these are the contraindications and when we should be very cautious when we give medicine. What are the side effects? Patient can have peptic ulcers, okay? Patient can have constipation, liver injury, okay, there can be any damaged or failure in the liver, renal failure, renal insufficiency where the GFR is very low. Patient can have chest pain and also cardiac dysarrhythmias. Okay, so where their the rhythm of the heart is abnormal. So these are some of the side effects of ACE inhibitors. So it is very important when we are giving this to the patient because it has so many side effects. It can cause abnormal heart rhythm, or it can cause chest pain, or it can cause renal failure. So we have to be very careful. We have to monitor the vital signs after giving the medications. We have to be very cautious with the patient, especially in pregnant women and lactation women. Okay, we have to be very careful. Okay, so these are about ACE inhibitors. Is this clear with everyone? किसी को doubt है?
मैम क्लियर है.
Okay. So I will stop till here for today. I will continue the other classifications in the next class because this topic is very vast. Okay, so today I have taught you about two things. Okay, two important classification. One is the AC inhibitors and the other is alpha adrenergic blockers. Okay, so these are the two classification. What the two classifications of drugs. Okay, so see, AC inhibitors, medicines like captopril, enalapril, lisinopril, perindopril, and ramipril. These are the medications. And we also did about alpha adrenergic blockers, point number 7. That is, we did about prazosin, terazosin, and okay, so for today, I think two classification is fine because if I teach more, then you will be. So I will stop here for today then. Anybody has any doubts still here?